In order for us to be able to use Entity Framework, we need to make some adjustments into ConfigureServices method in the startup class. First, we need to create a connection string to the database. And to do that, we need to implement IConfigurationInterface. This interface allows us to store the connection string in the app.json file. So let's create a property of the IConfiguration type, and the property can be static because we do not need to instantiate it. We simply need to access it. So up here in the startup class, I'll create a public static and I'll call it IConfiguration. Configuration will be the name of the interface property. So we'll do it get and set, and this is our property. And of course, we need to import the Microsoft.extensions.configurations namespace. And here comes another dependency injection. We want to inject this interface straight into our startup class. And to do that, we will pass it as an argument into the constructor. So let's create a constructor. And in it, I'll pass the IConfigurationInterface. And simply a variable. So we are passing the interface straight into the constructor, and now I can assign the value of it to our property configuration. Alright, so now we have all the methods from IConfiguration available to us, and we can create the connection string in the JSON format. So in the ConfigureServices method, I'm going to create a variable, and I'll call it connection string. So how do we construct the string? Well, we use the property configuration that we set up and which uses the IConfigurationInterface. And now we need to specify the property name and the name of the string. And this is done in JSON format. So we will add square brackets and we'll create the string. So the name of the property can be connection strings. And it can be really anything, but this is quite descriptive and it is in plural because we could store more than one connection string. And the actual string that will hold the value of the string and all the settings can be again anything you want. And I'll name it bookdb connection string. So from ConfigureServices, we will call the connection string and connect to the database. And we went through all this trouble to have it in JSON format so we can use it in the appsettings.json file. So let's open the file from Solution Explorer, appsettings.json. So here we will add the settings. We can do so after the allowed host. Simply place a comma at the end. And we will now enter the property name, which is connection strings, but it has to be in quotes. And the spelling is important. The lowercase and uppercase has to be matched to what we created in the startup.cs class. And inside we will specify the bookdb connection string. So we will add a value to it. So our bookdb connection string will have a value, and here we will actually specify the value of the string itself. And in our case, we will simply call or connect to our local database. So the server will equal, and we will specify the local db / ms SQL local DB. So this is our local database connection, and we have to specify the name of the database. And I'll name mine the same like project is Book API project, but you can name yours anything you want, of course. So after the server, I'll specify database. So now we have the server, we have the database, and now we have to actually specify the security. And in our case, we want this to be a trusted connection. So we will specify trusted _ connection equals true. And I made a mistake somewhere. I need 2 slashes there, because I have to escape the slash. With 1 slash, that's what it's used, but since we are in a string, to use this as an escape character, I need to use 2 slashes. And that's it. This is our connection string, and it's going to be safely stored in the JSON file rather than exposed inside of a class. So let's build the project and run it. And everything is still running the same as before, so nothing strange is happening. We still have the hello world message here as well. So, are you ready to create a database? Well, there is still one more thing we need to do, and that is to actually tell the entity framework what classes are to be used for the tables. And that is done using DB context. Let's do that next.